All right, so let's start looking at applying our law of sines. Now, they have told us to solve the triangle. When they say solve the triangle, what they mean is find all missing angles and all missing sides. Now, the caution at the bottom of your page warns us, hey, whenever you can, use what they gave you instead of using what we find. Always use what they give us instead of what we find along the way. It'll make our work more accurate. So they want us to solve triangle ABC if big A, so since it's a big A, it's an angle, big C, it's an angle, little a, it's a side. Well, what would make this super handy is if I actually had a picture. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to draw a nice big picture, and I'm going to draw it big enough that I can label everything. And we always like to, they said it's triangle ABC, so I'm just going to label it A, B, C. I don't care where A is, I don't care where B is, big B is, I don't care where big C is. But what I do care about is little a is across from big A. Little c is across from big C, and little b is across from big B. That's what I care about. Everyone's triangle will be the same because of that rule. Then they said big A is 32.0, big C is 81.8, and little a is 42.9 centimeters. So I've got 32 degrees, 81.8 degrees, and 42.9 centimeters. So let's solve this triangle. Let's find all my missing sides and angles. Well, the first one I am going to solve for, the one I think is easiest, is going to be to solve for angle B, because I know angle A plus angle B plus angle C has to equal 180. So if they've given me two angles, and they did, they gave me angle A and they gave me angle C, that'll let me find angle B by doing this. So I'm going to take that 32 plus that 81.8, 32 plus 81.8, that is going to give me 113.8 plus angle B equals 180. Subtract 113.8 from both sides, and I am going to get angle B equals 66.2 degrees. So up here, angle B is 66.2 degrees. Boom. That was easy. So now what I need to find is I need to find little b and little c. Well, that's going to require me to do the law of sines. Because I don't have a right triangle, I can't set up trigonometry or a trig ratio or Pythagorean theorem or a special right triangle, because these aren't right triangles. So I'm going to do the law of sines. Now, in the law of sines, they said fraction equals fractions equals fractions. I only need two of them. So I am going to start with the two letters that I know. I know angle A, and I know the length of little a. And then that will be, I could say, the sine of C over little c. This is normally how I always set it up. I don't worry about getting my unknown in the numerator, because it's going to work itself out. So let's find the sine of 32 degrees. So we're going to take the sine of 32.0, and we're going to put that over the length of side A, sine A, which is 42.9. That equals the sine of C, 81.8. And that's going to be over the length of little c. So we can go ahead and get little c by itself. What I'm going to do is I am going to cross multiply. So I'm going to get c times the sine of 32.0 degrees. That's going to equal, oops, I forgot to write the sign down. Goodness. That's going to equal 42.9 times, move that out of the way a little bit, times the sine of 81.8. Now my job is to get c by itself. So I'm going to divide both sides by the sine of 32. I don't like to round as I'm working. I like to manipulate all of my equations as they're given to me, and just at the very end, I'm going to do this. Alrighty, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to bang all that into my calculator. What I usually do when I'm putting this into my calculator is I'll put this into my calculator by grouping the top. I'm going to, in my calculator, I'll put in 42.9. Some calculators are going to make you say times the sine of 81.8. I'm going to close that, and I'm going to divide that by, and I'm going to group the bottom, and I'm going to, sometimes it's not necessary. It just makes me feel better, and that's what I'm going to put into my calculator. And then what we find is that the length of C is about 80.1 centimeters. And I'm going to 3 decimal places and not 4 because all the values they gave me have 3 digits. So I'm doing my significant figures. So I just found little c. So now I need to find little b. So to find little b, I'm going to use my law of sines again. I am going to go back and I'm going to use sine A because I know A, big A, and little a are accurate because they are given to me. So I'm always going to go back to my little a and my big A. So the sine of big A over the sine of little a equals the sine of big B, and we said big B is 66.2. over the length of little b, and that's what I'm looking for, so I'm going to leave it as b. So from here, I am going to cross multiply to get just make one equations. That'll help me eliminate my fractions. So b times the sine of 32.0 equals 42.9 times the sine of 66.2. So b equals 42.9 times the sine of 66.2 all over the sine of 32.0. I'm going to plug all of this into my calculator and give me 3 significant figures, which gets me about 74.1 centimeters. Boom. And that is how we are going to use our law of sine. Now, I don't necessarily worry that it's 2 sides and I'm sorry, 2 angles and a side. I just do what we've got to do. All right, so if you have any questions on how I set it up or how I solved for my unknown, when you see me in class, please let me know so we can work it out from there. And when we come back in the next video, we're going to do a word problem. All righty, so I'll see you when I see you, and I'm hoping you're having a good one.